Okay, so you're stuck in a reading slump, or maybe you're just a little curious, but also, let's be real, a little scared of Gothic fiction. Well, today we're doing a full heroine diagnosis on Kate Danley's A Spirited Manor to figure out if this is the cozy, atmospheric read your nervous system has been craving.
First off, can we just talk about this cover for a second? I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. You've got the dark florals, the antique gold, a heroine who looks like she's completely in charge. It is screaming fierce, epic paranormal romance. But, and this is a big but, the vibe on the cover isn't quite the vibe you get inside the book. And that kind of brings us right into our first section, where we're going to break down what this book actually is. Think of it as Gothic, but make it cozy. So, if you've been wanting to dip your toes into Gothic fiction, but you're worried it's going to be way too dark or gory or just emotionally draining, this book is your perfect on-ramp. It's like the softest entry point to the genre. You get all of that delicious, moody Victorian atmosphere. You can almost smell the rain on the old stone and feel the chill in those dimly lit rooms. But it definitely leans more into mystery and suspense than actual graphic horror. The darkness here is all about the vibe, not the trauma. This whole cozy Gothic thing is also incredibly neurodivergent friendly. The world is so sensory rich, right? That atmosphere does a lot of the heavy lifting, so your brain has this solid vibe to just latch onto, especially on those low focus days when you need something to ground you. It's a really quick, self-contained story that won't overwhelm your circuits. So let's get into the real tea here, the central conflict, the cover and the marketing versus what the story's actually about. The cover promises this fierce, take-no-prisoners heroine and this epic, sweeping paranormal romance. What you actually get is a really quiet, beautiful Gothic mystery about a grieving woman who is just trying to get through the day. The relationship that builds is less about that fiery passion and more of a slow-burn companionship, this really gentle, meaningful partnership, and that's a beautiful story. You just gotta know what you're signing up for. And this right here explains so much about the pacing. The title itself calls it a Gothic penny dreadful. Back in the Victorian era, these were short, serialized stories that people bought for a penny. They were designed to be devoured super fast and leave you hanging, waiting for the next one. So that history really shapes the book's quick, punchy, almost episode-like structure. All right, now we get to the main event, the part you're all here for. It's time to put our heroine, Clara O'Hare, under the microscope. This quote, "This is everything. This is the absolute key to understanding who Clara is. Because grief doesn't always look like falling apart. Sometimes it looks like patience." See, Clara is a widow, but she's not doing the whole dramatic, fainting on the sofa thing. Her grief is this quiet, steady, patient thing. She is literally just existing. She's counting down the days until she can be reunited with her husband in the afterlife. And you have to remember, for a Victorian widow, grief was often this huge public performance. Her quiet internal stillness is what's so compelling. She's not falling apart, she's just waiting. Okay, but here's where her arc starts to feel a little incomplete. We are told constantly that her love for her husband was this incredible, once-in-a-lifetime romance, but we never get to see it. There are no flashbacks, no little shared memories that let us in on their love story. We never get to feel why he was the great love of her life. And because of that, we're kind of left grieving a stranger right alongside her, which creates this little bit of emotional distance. And that leads me to what I personally think is a major, ghostly missed opportunity in her character development. Okay, let's put on our developmental editor hats for a minute. Imagine this. Clara is waiting to die to be with her husband again. A spirit starts haunting the manor, but what if that spirit was him? Her husband, the person she's waiting for, shows up, but instead of taking her with him, his message is for her to live, to be happy, to let go and find companionship again. I mean, come on. That's not just a ghost story. That is a full-circle gut punch of a grief-healing arc. It's the emotional paranormal romance the cover promised. Instead, the author chose to have a different spirit guide her, and it totally works for the mystery, and it for sure builds that spooky Gothic atmosphere, but it just leaves Clara's emotional journey feeling a little unfinished. She learns to accept companionship, which is a huge deal for a Victorian widow, but that final healing step, it just feels like is missing. So, after all of that, where do we land? It's time for the final verdict. Is this book for you? This book is 100% your vibe if you love the Gothic aesthetic, but you're not into heavy horror. It's perfect if you're in a reading slump and just need something quick and atmospheric to get you going again. If you're neurodivergent and you live for a book that just carries you on its vibe, this is it. And yeah, if you appreciate those quiet, introspective stories about grief and a really slow burn companionship, you're gonna love this. On the other hand, you might want to skip this one, or at least, adjust your expectations if you're going in wanting that big paranormal romance payoff. If you need a really deep, fleshed out emotional journey to connect with a character, or if you're looking for that morally gray, action-driven heroine we see in modern romantasy, the girl who would burn the manor to the ground for her man, Clara is just not that girl. And that's okay, but you gotta know that going in. Ultimately, A Spirited Manor is a really beautiful foundation for anyone wanting to get into Gothic fiction. It absolutely nails the atmosphere, it nails the mystery, and while I think Clara's personal journey could have used a bit more emotional depth to really hit home, the foundation here is super solid, and it's a great start to a series. So for those of you who've read it, I have to ask, what did you think of Clara's story? Did her quiet, patient grief really work for you? Or did you also feel like her arc was missing a final piece? Let me know your full take in the comments below. Thanks so much for diving into this diagnosis with me.